Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Challenge Accepted Sisterhood Sessions. I am your host, Simone, and I am so glad you decided to join us today. Today's topic is something a little, maybe different, but it's something that I think is important for all of us to kind of think about. Note to self, stop sabotaging your moments. Sit with that for a second. Stop sabotaging your moments. We all have done it. Everyone in the world has found themselves at one particular time or another sabotaging an opportunity, a relationship, a friendship. We've all found ourselves in that space. Yeah, paralyzed by fear of failure, fear of success, fear of discomfort, or fear of change, that you have felt yourself utterly paralyzed, unable to move forward, unable to give your best effort, just tap into your next level because you have found yourself stuck. You're not by yourself. You're not alone. Maybe you have been operating in the space of sabotaging your moments unconsciously, that you have been perpetuating behaviors that have been stopping your advancement and your growth, your advancement in your career, your advancement with building healthy, successful relationships. You have found yourself at a stalemate in life, trapped in a cycle of repetitive behavior, the groundhog day of destruction and sabotage because you are afraid of what success may look like on the other side, because you are afraid of what others might say about you in the process of success. You're afraid of what people are going to say about your journey. You're afraid of what people will say about past behavior, past mistakes, past failures, past letdowns. You have found yourself at a stalemate. Sabotaging only hinders you. Now, it may cause people to stop dealing with you. Yeah. It may cause people to want nothing to do with you. People will begin to stop responding, stop answering your calls, stop checking up on you, stop accepting invitations from you because you are the sabotager. Every time you wake up in the morning, you have an attitude. Every time you go into any space, you can always pick out everything that is going wrong until you find yourselves at the bottom of the pit of self-destruction because you can't see anything positive. It is important for us to understand that sabotage just doesn't only affect you as the individual. It starts to remove people from your circle. It starts to isolate you because people no longer want to engage with you. Because let's face it, sabotage is contagious. We've all heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together, right? What that means to me when I hear that is if you find yourself with a group with the same experiences and one person in the group begins to pull the energy down, before long, if you continue to go into that same space, another person will begin to pick up that same energy and that same bad behavior and begin to pull the conversations down. It's an unhealthy form of self-protection. I can remember a time in my life where I was intentionally being the Debbie Downer in the room. And what I mean by that is because my life wasn't where I wanted it to be or where I thought it should be, I really didn't have the energy or the capacity required for others because I couldn't see myself being happy for people when I myself wasn't happy about where I was. And maybe you have found yourself being that individual where your life may not be exactly where you want it to be, that your life may not have panned out just yet. Not that it won't, but just right now, it hasn't panned out to be exactly what you wanted it to be. You have become the individual in the spaces that always has something bad to say, that always can bring the energy down into a room, that we have said to ourselves that, oh, we're just protecting ourselves because they can't handle me because I am more vocal, or they can't handle me because I'm a straight shooter, I'm straightforward, or they can't handle, it's not my fault that they can't handle tough conversations. No, you're just being mean. You're just being mean, and you're intentionally being hateful. You're intentionally being a nuisance because you don't want to take the time to deal with self. You're intentionally being the mean person in the room because you don't want to take the time to unpack the baggage that you have been carrying for years and years, that you don't want to take the time to focus on why you respond to the world the way that you do, why you're annoyed at every single person and every single behavior of other people, that you don't want to take the time to do the work on self. So now you have labeled yourself as just being the strong person who always is just going to tell it like it is. And in reality, you're just being plain old mean. Yeah. And trying to mask it as some badge of honor to where you are destroying relationships. Yeah. Because that's really what we're doing when we are sabotaging. We're just working around accountability. We're working around growth. We're working around having to do the work on self. And instead of doing the work on self, we are creating an environment where nobody feels comfortable around us to share any good news because we're unable to process and we're unable to celebrate the success of others. That's really what it boils down to. That the self protection that we think we are portraying and the self protection that we think we're operating in is actually fear. It stems from fear. Sabotaging stems from fear. Well, fear of what? Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. The fear that you're missing something, that something is not there, that you haven't come to a level or a space where you are capable. Sabotaging is wrapped in low self-esteem. Yeah. To where, because of the way you feel about yourself and the way you view yourself and the way you see yourself through whatever lens you have created for yourself, that you are unable to see somebody else's light because yours is dim. And your light may have been dimmed for some time or for a very long time. And you have been operating in a space of, because I am not whole, or because I view myself as being less, that I can't go into a space and be authentic. I can't go into a space and be happy. And I can't go into a space and celebrate others because they may see my belief system about myself. They may see the holes in the stories that I have created, or maybe even the lies that I have told about where I am in life and how I view myself, or they are able to see beyond the facade that I have put on, beyond all of the makeup and clothes and jewelry and all of those things that we use to mask the truth about ourselves, of the truth of how we feel about ourselves. So now I would much rather destroy friendships, family relationships, intimate relationships, because you may see my flaws and require me to be accountable to the behaviors that I have been perpetuating. And you may require me to grow into a space that I'm not really ready to grow because I'm scared. Because I'm scared that people may finally see that I have not been feeding my mind, my spirit, my environment with all things positive, that people might actually see me. Instead of allowing people to see my journey unfold, I will much rather put myself in the box and keep people out with my bad attitude, my bad energy, blaming them for everything that I don't feel like they have done to my standard, creating a very critical lens so that nobody wants to really be around me, because who wants to be criticized every single day? Self-sabotage, it's wrapped into a desire for control. And what I mean when I say that is we find ourselves as women wanting to control every facet of life. And if we're not able to control it, then our whole day begins to spiral. Our whole existence begins to get off a track because we are not able to control a thing or a person, right? When people don't do what we say, when we say it, how we want it done in the timely manner that we expect to get it done, the way that we anticipate it being done to the success that we see in our minds, then we won't know parts of that individual because we believe that we can control it. If we can control it, everything will be great. If we can control it, then everyone will know how amazing we are because we're able to control it, right? If we can keep our hands on it or on that person and make them do what we want them to do and make them grow the way that we want them to grow, the behavior of sabotage, it undermines everything we know about success. It undermines our long-term goals. It undermines our well-being. And it ultimately undermines our growth, even our ability to grow, our desire to want to grow. So if sabotage is only hindering you and destroying relationships and causing you to be in a space of isolation, what can we do or how can we change this pattern of behavior? Is it possible for us to change the pattern of behavior? I would venture to say it is. I would venture to say that it is so. It is possible. But we have to be willing to do a few things. I'm going to give you four. I'm going to give you four things that will allow you to begin to change the pattern of behaviors. One, and I feel like this is in all things, right? When we are working on ourselves, in all things, it is the acknowledgement that I have been operating in this space or in this moment in time where I have been intentionally destroying relationships. And once you make that acknowledgement, now you are able to refocus, realign what you want your friendships to look like, your relationships to look like. Realign that. Realign how you view yourself and the idea or the notion that you are incapable, because that's not the truth. People tell themselves that they are incapable of receiving love or giving love. And the more you tell yourself a thing, or the more you repeat something, and you play it over and over again, the more you do that, the more it becomes a reality. The more you say that, oh, people just don't like to be around you, is the more it becomes the truth. The more you tell yourself that you are incapable, the more it becomes a reality. The more you tell yourself and you speak negativity over yourself, the more it becomes a reality. I challenge you. I challenge you to realign your thought process when it comes to who you believe you are. I challenge you to take some time and write down who, because if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your own ability, if you don't believe that you are capable and you have what it takes, there is no amount of uplift. There is no amount of encouragement. There is no amount of sermons, of people pumping you up and cheerleaders that is going to change the perception that you have about yourself. If you don't believe in your own ability, that you don't love yourself, you have to start with a love for self. It has to start with you. For a very long time, and when I say very long time, I'm not talking about decades or anything like that. I'm talking about for longer than I would have liked, okay? Longer than I would have liked. I found myself having to pull myself out of unworthiness, having to remind myself what God created in me was enough. He didn't give it to anybody else. He just gave it to me. That there's only one Simone in the world that was created for this moment, this opportunity, this space, no matter what that space is. And I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you that if you are presented with an opportunity, if a door has opened unto you, if a friend has invited you into a space that you may not have picked yourself, understand that you are given that opportunity because you belong there. That that door has opened unto you because it was crafted and designed for you to walk through. Because what you bring to the table, nobody else in the room is capable of bringing it to the table. Not because they can't learn it, not because they can't grow to that space, but because you already possess it. So it's not needed for them to have it as well. You're enough. You have spent way too long, longer than I would like, right? You have spent way too long sabotaging your moments, missing out on opportunities because we have believed a narrative about ourselves, about our image, who we are, about what's on the inside of us, about what we bring to the table. And we have allowed that to shape us in such a way that we just continue to victimize ourselves, that we continue to bring and pull ourselves down, that nobody has to come in and convince us otherwise because we do it ourselves. And I want to encourage you to stop today. Today, I want you to stop sabotaging your moments and your opportunities because they may not come back around again. Stop sabotaging your relationships and your friendships because they may not come back around again. Stop sabotaging the lessons that need to be learned because you're going to continue to repeat Groundhog's Day. You're going to continue to repeat this one day for the rest of your life. If you are unable to figure out and utilize what we have talked about in this session today, acknowledge that we have been walking in a space of sabotage, understand that we are paralyzed at times by the fear of failure or success or discomfort or by change, that we are allowing ourselves to be at a stalemate because we're scared. We're scared of not being at the level of others, not being able to do it like other people. I want to encourage you to begin to see yourself as having everything that you need. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. God didn't make any mistakes when He handcrafted you and He placed you in this moment, that you don't have to spend any more time either in a paralyzed state, in a hamster wheel of a groundhog's day, of reliving the same day over and over again, that growth doesn't always have to be hard, that challenges don't always have to be tough, that you are willing to understand the opportunity, that you are willing to acknowledge where you are, that you are willing to realign yourself, that you are willing to put forth some conscious effort, and you are willing to tell yourself every single day that you are enough. I thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to Challenge Accepted Sisterhood Sessions, and I am your host, Simone. This is more than just a sisterhood, it's a lifeline. I challenge you to stop sabotaging your moment.